Bees are amazing. They pollinate flowers and they make honey. This little sticky substance is great when you put it in teas, but when you put just a little bit of yeast with it, it also makes delicious alcohol. Today I'm going to teach you how to make mead. If you are a student like me, I bet you like to drink. On this channel we're going to tell you all about making your own booze, from making regular wine to making mead to even making other stuff like coffee drinks, chocolate drinks, whatever you want. This is Dormdrinks. Today we're going to make wine from honey. This stuff is called mead and we're going to keep it traditional today because it will give the best example of how to make alcohol. I already measured out 300 grams of honey. You can use websites to calculate how much you will need for a certain volume. We're going to make a liter here. So 300 grams will take us to about 12%. We have a little stove top and a little pan. What we're going to do is we're going to put the honey into this pan. And after that we're going to put a little bit of water in this. We don't want too much water because our end volume will be a liter. So you will just have to take a look at it a bit. I will just put a bit of water into this cup, which will take the last bits of honey with it as well. At the moment, this pan is heating up and we will have time to sanitize the other stuff that we're going to need to make this mead. You are going to need proper sanitation. For most of you that will just mean that you have to wash up quite properly. However, if you want to give it an extra step to keep it extra clean, extra safe, to keep the risk of infections lower, which we're going to get into some other time, you can use sanitation stuff. There are lots of different ways to sanitize stuff. If you look on fora and such, most of you, and especially most of you in America, will use tar sand. However, I make a little bit of a solution of my own to keep all my stuff clean. This involves a thing that we call wijnsteenzuur, of which I will show a translation in the measurement box. And sulfuric acid powder form. You don't want to breathe this in. If you catch a whiff of it as well, it will hit your nose quite loudly. Bit of a swirl. And we're going to use that for all of our equipment. So we put our cleaning solution in a bottle and we're going to give it a few shakes. Just to get it all over, to get as much of the bacteria gone as we can. So, I'm not going to use the cap again, so I'll just put it in here. And what we'll do, we'll pour the solution back to use for the rest. So, by now the bottle that we're going to use is clean. And our honey solution is starting to bubble. Now it doesn't have to be warm, because it needs to be warm but not hot. So as soon as it starts bubbling, I will turn off and take it from the heater. Yeah, just like that. Now we're going to give it some time to go down in temperature wise, and we're going to get ready for the rest. What we're going to do next is we're going to take our little solution with the honey and we're going to put this into our fermentation device, which will be this 1 liter bottle. Also keep in mind that we just made a honey solution, which will be very sugary and when it dries up, extremely sticky. What we have here is the honey. We're going to fill this up a little bit with water until it's about this full. We're going to put the yeast solution in there as well. So we want to keep a little bit of a headspace for now. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure it. This is just a custom if you make a lot of booze. If you don't have these measuring stuff, you could buy them. You could also use the internet to calculate how much of alcohol you're going to get. This is just a little bit more reliable. That's it. We're going to put a bit of our cleaning solution in there. That's more than enough. Just give it a bit of a swirl. We're going to put the solution in here. Fill it up halfway or something. And we're going to take out our hydrometer. Those of you who know what a hydrometer is, great. This will measure the amount of sugar in our liquids. So we're at a nice 1.068. Yes, I'll put it here as well. It's 1.068. I'm going to write it down, and then afterwards you can calculate how much of this you used. So we're going to take the hydrometer out, put this in the cleaning solution for now. We're going to have to clean it afterwards. And the solution that you used to measure, you can put back into your vessel. Now it's time for our yeast. To tell you how to make your yeast and how to pitch it, as we call it, I go back in time a little bit. So let's head up, I'd say, an hour or two back to see how we pitch the yeast. So this is the start of making mead, and we have to pitch the yeast. For that, you need to make just a little bit of a scrabble. What we're going to do is we're going to use the honey that we used earlier in the video as well. I'm going to take just 1 teaspoon of this stuff. It doesn't have to be much, but you just want some sugar for the yeast to start this process with. What you need for this is quite simple. You need just a little bit of honey for the yeast to start fermenting, so it can wake up, get ready, and then soon when we put it into the bottle, it will just work better. It's like breakfast for yeast. So I'm going to put just a little bit of water with this. Doesn't have to be much. With this water, we'll take just 1 teaspoon of our yeast. I'm using yeast made from Mead today. However, I understand you're a student. You probably don't know where to get this. There are 2 answers to that. It's either the internet or back at the supermarket, because you can use yeast made from Mead, or you can just bake baker's yeast. It will have a bit of a different result, but we'll get into that in a different video. To pitch the yeast, we're also going to take some nutrients. Now, this is the same story as the yeast. You can get this online. It's not that hard to find. You can also do it without. However, it's just better to do it with. There are many stories on what you can use to substitute yeast nutrients. Some say grapes or raisins, but others say that's just complete bullocks. So I would just use yeast nutrients, or not, just one of the 2. We're going to leave this for future Maxime to use, and we're going to go back to see how he's doing. And we're back. We still have the honey. It's a nice normal temperature. It's a bit warm but not hot. It's not too hot as well. It will probably be between 20 and 30 degrees, I think even less. So we're going to take the pitched yeast that we have here, and we're going to put that with our solution giving it a bit of a stir. And we're going to fill it up with the tiniest bit of water. Some headspace is great, but I would rather have a little bit less of it. So, the honey, the yeast and the water are all in the bottle at the moment. Now, to ferment, I'm going to go into this some other time as well. To ferment you need a zero oxygen place. It's called anaerobe. So we're going to use balloons. This is a very easy way to do it. If you can, and if you want to, you can use a water lock. It will just work 10 times better. However, this is cheap and we're students, so we love that. What you do is you're going to take a balloon and you're going to pinch a little hole through it. Use a safety pin or something. And we're going to put this balloon over our bottle. And there you have it. This is 1 liter of homemade mead. Now, as soon as it will start to ferment, because now it's just past the wake up stages and it's going to start in about an hour, you're going to notice that the balloon is going to inflate. When the balloon deflates again, and this will take between 1 and 2 weeks, that will mean that it's close to done. Now, I just put our mead into secondary and we made a whole video around it, but apparently at the end of the video we noticed that a microphone wasn't turned on, so we don't have any sound at all with it. It's a new camera, it's a new setup, so we kind of have to get ready for that still. But next week, when I'm gonna put our wine into secondary, I'm gonna show you all about how that's done and what you have to do. The only thing that I'm gonna tell you right now is that our mead is at a gravity of 0.998, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what secondary means. It's been a little over a month since we put the mead into secondary, so I figured it would be time to bottle it. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to measure the gravity again. I measured the gravity earlier already. I came out on 0.998 if I'm not mistaken. Let me check real quick. Yes, on 0.998. But I'm going to measure it again. Maybe it went a little bit lower, so we'll see. The ABF did in fact lower a little bit. It went from 0.998 to 0.994. So we get an ABF of 9.7%, which is perfectly fine for wine. What we're going to do next is we're going to bottle it. I cleaned out the bottle earlier and I sanitized it as well. And we just put this and the remaining of this into our bottle, and then we can let it age for a bit. And there you have it, 1 bottle of mead. This is a bottle of 75 centiliters. And it can go right into the aging rack. This probably does have to sit a little bit. I'm planning on about half a year. And then you can drink it and it should be lovely. A lovely honey wine, or mead as we call it. Now thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed our video. You can subscribe and like this video, and you can follow me on a few social medias like Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Now I would hope to see you next week. And I would like to thank you for watching. Drink safe and have a good day. Oh wait, don't go just yet. You also have to cold crash this. I told that in another mead bottling video already. But when you make wines and such, you have to cold crash for a little bit. So I have to put this bottle in the fridge for about 2 days. This will make that which is still in there settle a little bit more. Both yeast and just normal compounds. So I'll put this in the fridge 2 days and then you can go into a wine rack. Bye!